So hello everyone, welcome to Desire and Dialogue. My name is Mihwa. I'm a steamy romance author, and I'm here right now with Virginie Marconato from France. I'm sorry, did I pronounce that right?
Very nice, the Italian vibe. Very good.
Oh, so okay, say your name, please.
Virginie, but people
Virginie. Okay. Virginie Marconato. I don't know what the difference is between that and what I said before. It was the perfection. It was perfection. So Virginie, or V, is a steamy romance author, and she so far has been focusing on writing medieval, Vikings, and have you written any Regency or Victorian?
under my pen name, but not as Virginie.
Okay, so Virginie has another pen name, Judith Falcon. Judith Falcon, and what do you write under that pen name?
Basically the same, medieval stories, but the steam level is a lot higher, and a 3 Regency novellas, which are, again, way more.
So you're telling me that what you write under your real name, Virginie Marconato, is less steamy than Judith Falcon? Because this is pretty hot.
This one is probably the hottest in the series, and for me.
Okay.
But it's still maybe a 3 flames, as we would say. The others are definitely 5 or 5 plus. So,
Oh, wow. Okay, well, guys, the Norseman series is hot as hell. So you gotta check it out. And if Judith Falcon is even hotter, damn, I mean, that's... yeah, have new underwear ready, tissues, dildos, vibrators, so whatever you fancy. Cucumber, eggplants, whatever you want. So you gotta get those ready, get a glass of wine, and get started on reading right now. You can turn this off, get her books. We'll wait for you.
I don't look like the thing at the moment.
Oh, because you're just hot. Look how beautiful you are. Look how hot you are, so you don't really have to. That's why you have to tone it down and hide everything, because otherwise, people are going to be shocked by the charisma pheromone.
You can keep talking.
So you're going to show a little strip show?
No, I don't think so. I might take it all off because it's quite uncomfortable, but we'll see.
Well, you look beautiful. So what costume what era is that from?
These are crispy net. If you've seen Braveheart, I imagine, like everybody, it's that type of time. Beginning of... always mix them up. End of 13th, beginning of 14th century.
Oh, okay.
The dress is sort of generic medieval, I imagine. But I suppose with the long sleeves and everything, it would, I would say, let's say 1300.
Okay. So I'm noticing that there are lots of places to hide things. Under the veil, under the sleeve. You put like a knife in there. Handkerchiefs. Or...
obviously, the dress is very long, and you would wear stockings, but for your daggers or something?
Or garters or daggers. Excellent. So I'm wearing this mask to be more dramatic, but it's digging in, and I probably have an imprint right here now. So
I've got to see it.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yay! It's so nice to meet you in person after, all those days of messaging. Right? So tell me about this writing that you did when you were 7, 8, or 9 years old. First? Yeah, we're going to go there first.
Okay, there's a famous book called White Fang by Jack London, and it's one of the first ones I really loved. It's about this boy who adopts a wild wolf, and they become friends. Many films have been made, and it struck me. There's not a lot of dialogue, I suppose, because it's more of the interaction between them. And I decided, when I was about maybe 9 or 10, to write my own. I can't remember the title or anything else. Something to do with the forest, I imagine. And the hero was exactly the same. It was a dog, a wolf. So instead of fighting around a rabbit, for example. They would fight around a hedgehog. I didn't care if hedgehogs didn't live in the snow or anything. So I only wrote maybe 2 chapters, and I thought, one, it's not very good, and 2, it's exactly the same as them. I also tried something called The Purple Ghost, I think. When I was about 12.
Okay.
That never went anywhere either.
But
20
yeah.
years, and this is where I thought, people write books. I read books. I could write books. It was
yeah.
There's no reason. I don't know why I didn't think about it before.
Yeah. Well, you were busy with life, probably. Right?
Not really.
No, you were doing nothing. So what made you decide to write medieval and Viking?
I think you can tell I've always been fascinated by medieval. Anything, the costumes, the atmosphere, the castles, the battles, the famous people. I remember being in that history lesson when I was about, again, 9 or 10, and I could just see myself on the castle with the hennon,
Yeah, with a little cold thing. Yeah.
So it just was love at first sight, sort of thing. So it makes sense for me. And when I told people I write medieval, people who know me, I write medieval stories, they go, oh,
That makes sense.
you don't say.
Yeah. So now I'm curious about why you decided to write in English instead of French.
I tried, I think, one book in French, probably made it about a third of the way in, and thought, this is not doing anything for me, because I read in English, and in this genre at least, or even that, I must read about 2% of the books I read are in French. So you get used to the language and the dynamics in English, and it doesn't work in French. It's very clunky. Plus, French, you have to choose between tu and vous. If you're trying to, chat someone up, you're not going to say vous, but of course they wouldn't have said tu. It's awkward. I don't know how to use the titles in French, so...
Okay. Oh, that makes sense now that you explain it.
I dread the moment when one of my books is translated into French, because I will want to read it, but I'm sure I'll cringe all the way through.
Well, I'm sure the experts know what to do in that situation, right? Whoever you hire. That explains. Well, I also heard that French is too beautiful to be really impactful when somebody's angry or cursing, or even, during sex, the dirty talk.
You heard that from a foreigner.
I don't know where I heard it or read it.
Because there's nothing more normal and unsexy and just than French for me.
Oh, really?
Of course. That's all I speak. That's all I hear every day. So it's absolutely not mysterious, not romantic, nothing.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I know that for myself, because my first language is Korean, I never swear in Korean. Everyone says I sound off like I'm reading a textbook, because I'm very, very proper, because that's what I grew up with. Swearing in Korean seems very harsh and vulgar, like way more so than English. Yeah, I understand that. That's sort of,
As you say, if you've been using a certain type of language, not even the language itself, but a certain type or a certain accent in one language, you won't be able to switch as an adult, because it will have connotations for you. And if you say, for you, Korean means proper, means my family, means this environment, you can't swear in that environment.
Yeah, and as a child, yes, that's what I was conditioned, how I was conditioned to speak. So
language is not just words, it's a whole package.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. So you decided to write medieval, and that was about 8 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah. And how many series have you released since then?
Norseman is my first series, in fact.
Okay.
I've only ever written standalones up till then.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But when the manuscript for The Wolf, book 1 of the series, was accepted, they asked if I could do a series. Obviously, I said yes. We agreed on 3 books.
Let me think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For about half a second, I thought, Anyway, so I said, we agreed on 3 originally. And then after the meeting, she said, could we do maybe more? 6? 6? Let's do 6.
Yeah. So your first book with Wolf is called Taming.
Taming the Wolf.
Yeah, Taming the Wolf. And was that self-published or?
No, this is through a publisher that I've been very happy to work with. They're great, and they've done amazing covers for me. The editors are great to work with. I really, I've just signed for a 5-book series for next year.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Congratulations.
This will be a medieval one. No Vikings anymore.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the wolf story takes place in 1036 or 1032 or something like that.
30 years before the Battle of Hastings, but in Saxon England, basically. The new series will be in Wales, so it'll be the same dynamics, invaders and local people, different cultures, different languages, obstacles to overcome, that type of things.
Okay.
My husband's Welsh, that's why I'm fascinated about the place and the area and the castles.
So are you basing your characters on him by any chance? Does he appear in any of the books at all?
He's probably in bits, of the heroes, but no, I never set out thinking, okay, let's do something like that. No, but obviously I will use him for inspiration or research.
Yeah, honey, can you come down to the kitchen and bend over?
Exactly. And if I hold you like this, how high are you? And
yeah, they're props.
Exactly.
So your latest release, Wooing the
Devil.
Sorry, Wooing the Wolf?
No, the Devil.
The Devil, sorry. Wooing the Devil. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, guys? I'm the expert here. So Wooing the Devil, that's book 3 of the Norseman Series. And what is the relationship between the 3 books?
Well, once you would have read all 6, you will see that number 3 is a sort of a odd one out, because it's always the best friend or the sister of someone. These 2 characters in the Devil, just came out of nowhere, if you want. They're not mentioned in book 1 and 2, and they only are briefly mentioned in the other books because they don't. I'm not going to say why, but so I think it's because they just wanted to be born. They just appeared like this. Yeah. I told you I signed for 3 books, having written only 1 originally. There was a best friend in the wolf, so I thought that's ideal for book 2. I'll use him, but I didn't have any book 3 material. And this guy just came and he wanted to be like this. That's why his plot is a bit different. It just wanted to be that way. It was not my decision. And I was very happy to let him do what he wanted.
Do what he wanted. Yeah, the character
they know
you. Yeah, they do. And I love how you worked the characters from the, previous books into this book, because he meets Wolf and Sigurd. Yeah, he meets them in this book, and they are very important characters. Developing of.
If you want the original book, and he's the leader of the village, so he has a role to play in all of the bolt, I suppose, that holds everything together. So he will be in all of the books. But his best friend is a sort of, they need each other to play off each other. So yes, I'm not saying it made sense to have them.
This book is really, really exciting. But I didn't mean to read as much as I did.
I'll take that.
Because, it's a compliment. Wait, it's coming.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Because, as authors, we spend every waking moment writing. And I'm like, I have my deadline on my own release in July. And so I have to get, and, we book the editors and we have to get our book manuscripts to them in time. So I'm like, no, I don't want to be reading this book, but I wanted to just check it out to see if there was any bits that I should know about. I should have some idea. But it just gripped me. Like, it was just bang, bang, boom. And, right from the start, there are twists after twists and surprises. And I was like, damn you, me! Damn you! I need to write! So, it was very compelling. I couldn't put it down. I didn't finish, so don't ruin anything for me. Okay, but yeah, just
very pleased with that. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
That is ideal.
Like something that I enjoyed it, and I think it must show. I think if you, as a writer, if you have fun and if you do it as the way, if you do a book you would like to read, someone else is going to want to read it. Not maybe everyone, but someone.
Yeah. I think a big part of our writing and what makes each author different, even though we might repeat the same tropes and similar plot lines, is our personality. I think that's the only distinction in a way.
It's like a director in
Yes.
orchestra. You will have the same sheets, but the music will end up differently because you would be more sensitive. You might be a bit more excited, or even today or tomorrow will be different.
Yes, I can speak for that. Definitely. Sometimes, if I'm in a certain mood, if I'm sad, I want to read sad story. And reading happy story just pisses me off. Like, how dare they be happy when I feel this miserable? If I'm happy, then I want something uplifting. So, yeah, I mean, that's me though. Not everyone's that crazy. But
No, you might feel the opposite. You might think, I want something to pick me up, or
yeah,
I want something to calm me down.
yeah. No, everyone's different. It's amazing how subjective the taste in books is. I think it's way more than films or music. I feel like books are such personal, media.
Yeah, I think the films, you like it or you don't, but at least you have to accept what you're given. He looks like this, he's here, and he uses this object. That's it. In a book, you could imagine an object completely different to mine, and you could pick a forest that is not at all the same forest as I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Or even if you miss the clue about the forest, you might be, or by a river or something. So you make your own film, your own images.
Yeah, and there's no limit. And I also find the fans to be very loyal to particular authors. I'm sure not everyone is like this. It's not like I'll find Quentin Tarantino fan who is diehard and loves everything he does. Well, I haven't met anyone like that. But with books, I think the fans are extremely loyal. I think I think that might be because I guess so many things are up to interpretation because everyone has different, imagination. And
you might more easily think that it speaks to you and it applies to you.
Yeah.
Because you probably read what you want to read in it. And
yeah. No, it's true.
I've always reader. I don't think massive shock, I think every writer has started by reading everything they could when they were children. It's just when you're away, you're away. My parents used to complain all the time. Oh, where are you? It's time to eat. I was, in the 19th century, robbing a bank or something. I was galloping on the beach.
Well, thank you for becoming a writer and a teacher instead of, robber.
Okay. Yeah.
So what was the inspiration for this devil character? Do you have any idea where it came from?
Him specifically, I don't know. I probably somewhere tried to imagine who is the hottest guy I can.
Yeah.
Actually, the cover is exactly how I imagine him. I know you can only see the back, but that's even better because everyone can see the, if you prefer a bigger nose or, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just thought because he's number 3, I wanted him different to the other 2 who are not similar, but they're more cinnamon rolls, if you want. And this one is a bit more arrogant and a bit of, when you meet him, you think, I'm not sure if I like him.
Yeah, in the first chapter, I was laughing because the way he presents himself and the way she reacts, it could have been me and my husband, last week. So whether it's 1032 or 2024, I think I can see, people in the caveman age, having the same issue, same interaction dynamics as we do now.
They were just people.
Yeah, with the same problems. Yeah,
exactly. But better costumes.
Better costumes, more rugged.
Yeah, and less good.
Yeah, yeah. But all men, I'm sure, were lean and muscular. I don't think that would have been an exaggeration back then.
No, but the face might not,
Yeah. And
so I don't think I had any inspiration for him specifically, but I did watch the series Viking, because you have to research.
So when you started writing, did you start off writing steamy right off the bat?
The one I told you about in French was probably very mild. And then I figured out that it was in between things. It was not clean. It was not explicit enough to be satisfying for someone wanting explicit. So it was a sort of middle ground. Another reason why it just went through the door. And as I started the second one, I thought that's not going to work for me because I think intimacy, sex, if you want, is obviously a part of a romance. Even if it's a clean romance, we suppose they do things. You know, you might not see it, but you assume they do. I hope for them.
Yeah.
And I didn't see why I didn't want to show it because it's just another expression and another way of showing what you feel for each other. I would, as a reader, I would be very frustrated and think, it's, you know, coming up and then poof, cut. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching a cookery show and people assembling the ingredients and then they go, right, so here is the soup I made.
Yeah.
No, I need to see it happening because, well, why not anyway?
Yeah. Well, readers, thank you. Because, as I said, it's hot, guys. It's hard. You gotta read it. So, can you give us some summary from your book 1 to the latest release in the Norseman series?
Okay. Book 1, Wolf buys Eowyn at the slave market. She doesn't know how she ended up there. And he buys her to obviously spare her from her awful life as a slave. And they end up working out together how she ended up there and what they can do, because obviously they can't stay master and slave. But they can't in my story, and nothing wrong with that in other books. But in this book, they didn't want that. So they work out how they can be together without this skewed dynamics. Book 2, we meet Wolf's best friend, again, because we're meeting in book 1, with one of the women that Wolf helped in book 1. Yeah. And he's more or less smitten with her from the start. And she uses him afterwards to get herself out of a situation. He's more than happy to help. And obviously, as they live together, they realize that they're made for each other. Book 3, it's one of book 2's best friends, is the heroine, but we never met her before. She likes to live a life on the free side until, and everything goes well, until it catches up with her. And one night that should have had no consequences, with a Dane visiting the country just for 1 week, ends up having more consequences than they expected. But they find it difficult to accept that they can work together. And beginning of July, there's book 4, in which we meet Frigith, so the heroine of book 2's sister, who we see in book 2, and one of the Norsemen from the village, who has been in love with her from the moment he met her as well. But she's older, so she finds it difficult to accept the idea, and she already has a child. And she can't think, I can't have a second chance. I'm happy on my own. I'm done with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, he will insist that they can be together.
Yeah. And that's coming out in July.
On the 9th of July.
Okay.
I always love, the latest is always my favorite.
Yes.
I love before. I liked the older woman, younger man. I thought that was a nice, unusual, dynamics. At least it's not something I read. I know it's out there, but it's not something I usually read. And the other two?
No, I think that's enough for now. But you already have the other 2 scheduled, and what are these dates for them?
I'm writing number 6 at the moment.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And when is number 5?
Number 5 is end of August.
Okay.
And number 6 will be beginning of October, I think.
Okay.
So they're coming quite fast.
Yeah, well, you've been busy. And you have a full-time work as a teacher, or part-time work as a teacher.
Yes, I teach English.
Okay. So you're a busy lady.
I love it. I love everything I do. I love. So it's not really a problem.
Yeah. Well, it shows. It shows in your stories. And I love, Taming the Wolf. I just love the premise of it. I love how it starts. And I love how your books kind of start, steamy right off the bat. Like, I don't have to, read through 80% of the book for them to get together. And it really itches my scratch right off the bat, so I can hang in there.
As a reader, I know I don't like to wait half the book for anything to happen or have a lot of explanations. And so if I don't like to read it, I like even less to write. So I'm just, doing myself a favor and pleasing myself.
Yeah.
I think book 3 is a good example also.
It does. I mean, although it's a tease, it's a bit.
No, but obviously you don't want to do always the same formula.
No,
It's
no.
variety that's different. But even if it's nothing full scene or something, there's always something to keep us going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it sets up the story really well in the prologue. So it was definitely the right amount of tease. But I mean, book 1, it just gripped me as well.
It's not closed door, but I don't think it's steamy enough. Well, it depends what you're used to reading, and book 3, probably. But the first 2, yes, there are some sex scenes, but I think for me to be a steamy writer as well, sex has to be more as the focus of the book and the main point. If you want, you pick up the book because you want the sex scenes. What I write, the sex happens because it's 2 people in love and they have sex. And it's just a normal consequence of it, if you want.
I guess for me and for the purpose of this channel, steamy is just open door. No matter if you have 1 scene or 2 scenes.
Oh, in that case,
I don't distinguish.
qualify.
Cha-ching.
But yes, definitely, if you pick up a Judith, especially the Regency, you will think, oh, I see.
Oh, I see.
Okay, the vocabulary is different. The frequency is different.
And what made you decide to write steamy under a pen name?
I can't even
Was
remember.
it more? Did Judith come first, or did
No. I
Virginie
started
come
with
first?
my standard medieval Virginies. And then the first Viking, because Judith has a Viking trilogy. So the first, I know why. Because I started with a Virginie, if you want, which I submitted to an editor who specializes in steamy books. So they said, at the moment, it's not steamy enough for us, but we like the style, we like it. So if you're prepared to crank it up, we'll talk. And I thought, why not? Why not? So that's why. I'm not saying I was pushed into it.
Yeah.
But it didn't start like this because of something I wanted to do, but I loved it. And once I had the pen name, I thought, let's, play with it and explore, because the Regency is not something I've written as Virginie at all. I don't think I would. But somehow it just worked for. I would put the novellas as erotic, even.
Okay.
No. I think there's a distinction. They call it erotic romance and not erotic. Not very different.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah. So they're erotic romance, not erotica.
Because they're hotter.
Yes, but it's still the same idea. Happy ever after, a romantic relationship, just a bit more sex.
Okay. So was there a reason why you wrote low steam initially? Was your natural inclination to go low steam, or were you holding back?
Oh, no, I was not holding back. Because as I said, it was not my goal, was not to write something for titillation purposes or something like that. So if it happened, it happened, or it had to happen for a reason. So
whatever fit the story was why you were writing.
Exactly. And it just felt that if I'd crammed in more, it would have felt as if I had crammed them in rather than let them happen.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that is an important thing to remember as writers, right? Sometimes it's tempting to make things as steamy as possible, but if it doesn't fit the story, then it's not going to be sexy.
That's why I hesitated, because it is steamier and there's more sex. And I thought it doesn't quite fit the same level, if you want, and pattern as the others, because I already knew that 4, 5, and 6 would be like 1 and 2. So this one is a sort of strange in the middle, but it just wanted to be like this, and it made sense for them. So I let it go. I let it happen.
Yeah, it made sense, because that's how they, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but that's sort of how they connect initially.
Exactly. It's the only bit they have in common at first. They don't even speak the same language. Exactly. And it was not supposed to be anything more. But what they would say? forgotten. It was relevant and it was interesting, but
Yeah. I'm totally going to leave that bit in.
yeah,
So I'm not the only one.
exactly. It might come back.
Yeah, I'll cut that off even if it comes back. We'll edit it out. So, Judith Falcon, are you planning to write more under Judith Falcon, or are you devoted to
No, I have.
the series for now?
I've started a trilogy with her, and there's 2 out at the moment. The number 3 is already here. It's about, it's. I've started to write it, but I'm so busy with the Virginie side at the moment that
Yeah.
I imagine within the year it might come out, but I can't be more precise than this. Once I've finished this off, I don't know. I would like to exploit her, but I've only got one now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's why we need more time. We need more than 24 hours to do everything.
exactly, I might ditch some of my pupils. And,
Yeah. And your husband will suffer.
oh no,
He'll miss you enough. Yeah. You still need your prop. So,
exactly. I can't let him go too far.
do your friends and family know you write steamy?
They do.
And
I'm just wondering, there might be a couple who don't know about Judith, but I think the majority of people would, as like you said, would already think it can't be steamier than Virginie, really. Yes, but plus remember, all my friends can't speak a word of English, or more or less.
okay.
My family can't. My sister is she's the only one who can. So
okay.
I could say what I want, basically. I
Oh,
can
okay.
say, I write this and it's about that. They'll never know. But no, it's not a secret. Why would it be? It's not
Yeah.
a crime. But
No,
I'm lucky, I think, to be able to say and to be able to. This is one instance when there's no proper English word for this. I don't have to say. I want to be proud of what I do, if you want. But it's not. There's no good English word for this. We have one in French, for one.
Okay. And what is it? What's the French word?
Well, it's a faux ami because we say j'assume. It doesn't mean I assume.
Yeah,
It means I do this and I will stand by it and I will not be scared to say I do it.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds like a cool word that we should have in it.
Exactly.
And do you run into that issue when you're writing in English? There are certain words that you wish you could just insert French in there to be more.
No, usually
Wouldn't it?
it would be the other way around. We speak French at home and occasionally we'll put the English word because there's no French equivalent. So it's really rarely the other way around.
Oh.
It has happened. I remember telling myself, this one I really need the French, but there's always a way around it. It's not enough to make me go, it's annoying. No, what's more annoying is the little things like prepositions for me. So my editors, they have extra work with me because I will make mistakes that nobody else would do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A stupid mistake of a language.
I think you speak and write better than a lot of native English speakers. So I don't think you need to.
That's
feel
your
bad.
word, not mine.
Yeah. Listen, people. Listen. Oh, well, now it's my turn. I was going to ask. Oh, so do you notice? So what I'm trying to get at was, that like, do your friends know about your steamy writing? Is I'm wondering if that stereotypical assumption about French being more liberated and open-minded about sex true, in your opinion?
No, I
Do
don't
you
think so.
No.
Especially romance is really not cool in France. If you say, if you say you write romance, people would think, they're called rosewater books in French. So it's a bit, a bit,
Really?
yeah.
French people, how dare you?
It's
You don't have
either,
a taste to write a romance?
it's either very naff and, something your grandmother would read with very, very low steam, but just, I love you, oh, me too, and I love you forever, and I will love you forever. That's what they imagine. Or it's porn. There's nobody who will think, okay, fair enough, it can be a genre or something. I know.
All right, listen up. Writing romance is much more difficult than any other genre. You know why? Because if you read any decent romance novels, it consists of everything that other genres have, plus more, which is a human connection, making things romantic. It's, human behavior. We need to study how the language comes out to make things more poignant. There's way more emotional intensity, not only fear, just like suspense or thriller, but it has to be fear and anxiety and apprehension and introspection and inner turmoil. Like, it touches on everything that no other genres do. So give us a break. I think romance writers are smarter, more talented, and more in touch with ourselves than any other.
I have to say, when I started to write, you know about imposter syndrome and all this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been the same if I'd written in another genre for this, but it didn't help, I think, that it was romance because of how you say, how it's perceived, and it's not very cool, especially here. But now, now they can try. They can come to me and say, oh, you write this? And I know what it takes, and I know what it takes to get published and to finish the books and to have them out. And so I laugh inside and I just go, yeah, right. You don't even know what you're talking about, and you wouldn't do 1% of what I've done. So, you think what you want. But it took a bit of time to get to that point, I have to say.
Yeah.
Because you say I have written a book, it feels like anyone could do that, and it's not sold anyway. So why am I even mentioning it? But yeah, it's that's the hardest bit, I think, to believe that you can actually say this and don't look stupid or like you're boasting or no, you're doing it, and it's as valid as anything else, and probably more difficult. Not the writing, but the finishing and the getting the covers and the everything else. That's the hard bit. And if you stick at it, even if
marketing.
That's why now, even if I don't like a book or something, I don't say anything because I thought, okay, fair enough. It's not for me, but I know the amount of work that went into that. So
we can at least appreciate
exactly
the effort that goes into it. Yeah. I feel like as a published romance author, self-published romance author, I see people getting disappointed on 2 different levels. So, you write romance, and they say, so are you published anywhere?
Are you rich?
Self-published.
It's always, are you rich?
No, nobody asked me that, because they asked me, are you published? I say I'm self-published, and already they've left the conversation. They're on their way out the door.
Yeah, they don't realize it's even more difficult.
And one of the reasons when you just asked me, when you just said people ask you if you're rich, is that we have celebrity chefs, we have action stars, obviously, movie stars, and we have athletes, but we don't have as many celebrity authors. And that's one of the reasons why I started this YouTube, is because I feel like authors deserve way more credit and notoriety and fame and wealth than, we get. For those people who actually deserve it, people that make me cry, people that make my heart jump, people that bring out all these emotional stuff that cathartic stuff, they deserve all the credit and, prosperity we can give them. So that's why I want to bring authors' faces and their voices to this channel, so we can have way more interactions and connections with, real life authors. Because other than Stephen King and Margaret Atwood and, the usual handful, but I don't really know.
I think anyone. in the romance, you only have the Bridgerton thing. That's the only one that people will be able to name.
Yeah.
Even if they read or if you in the circles we hang around in, we know some of them, but the normal mainstream people will not even know. Lisa Kleypas, come on.
Yeah, no, I didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have paid attention to Bridgerton either if I hadn't read her books
already. It's not my thing, but
Yeah. No, it's true. So, we have more celebrity authors in suspense, I think, the genre. But other than that, no, not really. So, yeah, it's time to change that, people. This is 2024, and we can't name more than 5, famous authors that are still living. That's shameful, right? Yeah, I'm here to shame you. I'm not making this for you viewers. I'm making this for authors. So
Yeah, you've got a chip on your shoulder.
I got, yeah. Good thing my shoulders are small because I'm short. But okay. So getting back to your writing, what would you recommend to authors that are just starting out?
I think we're back to the imposter thing. I don't feel strong enough to say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. I can only say what I've discovered myself, if you want. I think, first of all, if you started to write, it's not by coincidence. It's not something you do without wanting to do. So if you wanted to do this or this book, do it. Don't let anyone else tell you, oh, for example, The Wolf ended up with that publisher specifically because I happened to rant on social media saying that people tell me, no, medieval, nobody wants medieval. We want Regency. And I said, oh, I'm sure there would be people who'd like medieval. And they said, yes, we would. So don't try to, I think, unless you want to, your goal is different, but if you want to please yourself, write what you want to write. It might take longer, it might not even happen, but at least you're having fun while you do it.
Yeah.
Because if you write something and your heart's not in it, you will have to reread it 1,000 times when you do the edits, etc. So if you're bored, it's not a good occupation. So I would say stick to what you think you want to do, because if you think you want to do it, you're probably right. It's for you. And also, good luck. If I had known before how much work it would be, naively I thought, oh, the Hulk would be finishing one book.
Yeah.
No, it's like an opera singer going, and now, how would it work?
What a wonderful analogy. Yeah.
You need to persevere. And that's where, if you write something you enjoy doing, it will help you. Because if you are bored doing it, and then you have to stick at it, you're not going to do it. So, good luck is what I would say.
Well, that's a really great advice. Really great advice.
Oh, I thought you'd frozen for a moment.
My brain did. I'm like, you're in the head, like, what was I going to say? Yeah.
I made you speak.
Yes, I am in awe. Watchers. Okay. Oh, you have to take the whole gold thing off?
Ooh, it's a contraption.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you next, what kind of research went into the series?
This series, usually, specifically for the series, was obviously Norse mythology. It's not something I was very familiar with, but because I write Middle Ages, and I told you before, I've always been fascinated with it. I've been reading about it, visiting castle, doing that for, how old am I? Say more than 30 years. So
you can tell me.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
For the Middle Age part, if you want, the atmosphere and the history, I don't need a lot of research, because if I said, okay, it's this year, then I'll check what's happening if I don't know it by heart. But then more or less I have a mental picture already. And I know some authors put a lot of historical details or background. Not so much for me. I do a bit, but you will see quickly that I'm not one of these authors who will tell you about the political upheavals and the battles again, because it's not what I want to read if I read a romance. I love reading historical fiction or documentaries or things like that. But in my romance, I don't really want the interference. So win-win. I don't have to spend a lot of time researching, and I end up with a product looking like something I would want to read.
Yeah, so the focus is on the relationship.
Yeah, always.
Characters. Yeah. So you put more effort into character development, not necessarily the whole surrounding.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
I again, it's something I want to read. So
how do you balance the historical element versus storytelling? Because I find that sometimes I read historical romance where the writing is great, but the storytelling is a bit more, historically focused, a bit too much worrying about the historical accuracy. And readers are different too. Some expect complete historical encyclopedic knowledge versus other readers who don't really care too much about that. How do you balance that too?
Well, I think I start by hoping that the people who will read it will be like me and not really mind if there's no complete tapestry of what's happening at the time. If that's what they want, they'll quickly see that I'm probably not the author for them. But I will choose elements of history that help my story, not the other way around. I have on occasion thought I'll base a book at that time because of this particular event that would be interesting, for the dynamics of the people, for example. But usually I say, okay, because they're here now, what's happening? Would it affect them? Not really. Or would it? Yes, it would. In what way, etc. So, and again, it depends on the book, I suppose. But my priority is always the people. I think it's like us. We live now, but it's history for, people 50 years down the line. But we don't necessarily are impacted by what's happening. And people might even be surprised that it made no difference to us that there was a war on in that country, or, I remember my grandmother, who was alive, obviously, during the Second World War, when France was occupied by the Germans. She lived in the part that was occupied. And I asked her, how did it feel like to be in that sort of environment? And she said, so I asked her, and she said, they burnt the next village one day. So I said, you must have been terrified and it's horrible. And she said, no, the next village, not ours.
Which was probably 100 miles away or something.
No.
Or 100 kilometers.
At the time, they didn't have any transport, if you want. So the next village was half a day's, day away. And for them, it was just, might as well have been in Mexico. It was just surreal. But if you realize that you're not necessarily impacted in your everyday life, you don't know you're living in history. That makes sense. So
totally.
It doesn't matter that at the time kings or dynasty changed, unless you're a courtier or something like that. But for an everyday person, they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
For months. And even if they knew, they would go, I've got to find something to eat. And I'm old, so...
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I mean, even just as, recent as a few months ago when I was in New York, there was a riot going on and everyone cautioned me about riots and it was all over the news. Well, the New Yorkers didn't know anything about it. Exactly. I didn't see anything.
Because we know everything now, we think that people will know and will care. I'm not saying it's good that they don't, but mostly they don't, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. When it doesn't impact us directly, it is hard to notice. Yeah.
I actually put a line exactly like that in one of my books. The guy wants to go to, it's during the 100 Years' War, so he wants to go to fight for the king. Yeah. And he's newly married. And the woman, the heroine, says, why are you even going? The king doesn't know you, and why are you? And he says, well, it's what we do. And I said, why though? And maybe I should pay attention to this war that's been going on for 100 years, but... It's not my war. I'm not, I don't want to become French or anything. It's just, it would have been the same as us.
Yeah.
Except that they knew even less about it and had even less information.
Yeah. But somehow that idea of, for men in the country and, for my tribe, that sentiment was so much stronger in the old days, even in during World War II.
But I suppose, again, it depends. If you're a knight, yes. If you're a member of the royal family, yes. If you're a peasant, not sure. And because a good proportions of my heroes and heroines are just normal people, if you want, and they wouldn't know that so I'm not sure if I'm selling it very well, but it's not a historical documentary. If that's what you're looking for, probably go to other authors who do it a lot better.
Yeah. But I mean, you're a great writer and you're a great storyteller, which don't necessarily happen automatically. So the story is interesting. There's a lot of emotions that you provoke, great characters, and steamy scenes are, makes me tingle. So I think, guys, you have to buy her books. The Norseman series are excellent. So go get them and please leave a review. if you do read them, because it makes a big difference, since that's the only way we connect with our readers most of the time. The only time when we get honest feedback about, what our blood and sweat and effort and sacrifices, how they're impacting other people. So please write reviews for Virginie Marconato. All right, I'm like Virginie.
You're one of the best I've heard, actually.
Oh, really? Marconato. Okay. I don't know the difference. Marconato.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Marconato. Don't think about it too hard. Virginie Marconato. And Judith Falcon. Check out her books. Now, my last question is, what trope would you put your relationship in, you and your husband?
What trope?
Yeah.
I've never wondered about this.
Name them all.
Well, I think it would have to be by default, not that one, not that one, not that one. Okay. It might be not insta lust, but insta connection. Not lust. Just like it's obvious. And not friends to lovers because we became a couple instantly, if you want. Not enemies, of course, because no age gap, no brother's best friend, no one bed. One of my favorite.
Yeah. Forced proximity, married
No. No, I can't think of
no
any.
damage to hero, alpha male.
No, I can't think of any, really. It would be a boring premise.
But it's insta love. Well, it's the best kind of, the most exciting kind of
I think
story is insta love.
yes, but I think it's the best in real life, but not the one that would make it for the most exciting book, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be 10 pages and it's over.
Exactly. They meet, they find each other, they're great, happily ever.
But there's something to be said about insta love. Then they get married and it's how they discover each other afterwards. That can
The
be.
only thing, I don't know if it's a trope exactly, but we spent the first 3 years apart. I was in France and he was in Wales. So we could deal with it if you want.
Oh, yeah, that's really tough.
But
Really tough.
I don't know how I would call that a trope.
So for me, if I'm emotionally connected to someone, it brings up the physical attraction. So if you were instantly connected, weren't you also lusting after him at the same time?
No, that's not what I would say.
No.
Not
I'm sure he was, though.
He
was. I have to ask him, but I'm sure he was. He'll be like, yeah, insta lust first, girl. And then connection after.
You have to ask him.
Yeah.
No, I think it was more even a complete mixture of, respect. We would laugh together. Yes, it's very, I don't know, it doesn't sound very exciting or very, sounds a bit sappy, but
He's a cinnamon roll.
roll and roll and roll. Maybe that's why
nice.
I always end up writing cinnamon rolls. That's probably not a coincidence. That's probably why. When I when I specifically try an alpha hole or something, well, I immediately say, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'd love to read it, but I can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I married the kindest man in the world, but I write alpha male, assholes, because I think I like to date assholes, but marry cinnamon roll.
Well, I've never really dated anyone, other than we met when I was very young. So I don't have that experience, and I'm glad. But so I got nothing to explore in my memories or in my experience. Mm-hmm. That's why I think another advice, the famous, write about what you know. It's not exactly that, but about what you feel you can write about, because some things are great and interesting, but I don't know anything about it, or I'm not the best person to do it, or so alpha holes, not for me.
And it really shouldn't be for anyone in real life, guys. I mean,
as an author.
Yeah, as an author. Yeah, sorry. I get my realities confused. Yes, definitely as an author, but in real life, it's a soul-sucking thing that leaves you empty and hollow and depressed after dating an asshole. So don't do that if you are still dating. Just don't go there. Speaking from experience. All right. And that's all the time we have, guys. But I really enjoyed my chat with Virginie today. She had a lot of great insight and great analogies and some profound philosophical thoughts that I hadn't thought about before. So I'm learning constantly. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Buy her books. She's available on Amazon. Any other platforms? When you're
No, no. I've got my website, but I don't sell through that.
So Virginie Marconato, was that Italian again?
No, it was just the normal mix of English speaking.
Yeah, so when you hear Korean person speak, say a French name with Korean and English accent, you get Virginie Marconato.
And it's not bad.
Thank you, Virginie Marconato. So check out Virginie Marconato on Amazon, leave her reviews, and check out Judith Falcon on Amazon as well. Leave her reviews. And I swear they're a lot of fun to read. So join us next time with Monica Burns, another steamy romance author. And follow Virginie on social media. She's everywhere. And for her links, you can find them in the comment section below.